Hi guys, welcome back. Today I am here with a tag video for you. I know I don't do a lot of tag videos, but this one I was really interested in, and I actually wasn't even tagged to do it as far as I know, but I saw Harriet Rosie do it on her channel and I just really liked it. I thought it was really cool and it's a great, more kind of discussion based tag. So today I'm going to be doing the Under the Influence of Booktube tag. And I like this because it's a lot of discussion starting questions that get you to talk about your experience with Booktube, and yeah, I just really liked it. I thought it was really cool. I will link the original video in the description down below. This was created by a book olive, and I have not prepared for this, so this is going to be a little off the cuff. We'll see how this goes. Question 1. What is a fantastic book that you read off the recommendation of another booktuber? And oppositely, what is a book that you were talked out of reading because of a booktuber's review? Oh, interesting. I've read a lot of fantastic books based on other booktubers' recommendations. I would say probably the biggest one that has now become one of my favorite books of all time is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I read this on the urging of Leanna over at Leanna's Library, and I'm so glad because it's now one of my all-time favorites. It's adult high fantasy, and I know not everyone loves it. It's very long, but I love everything about it. I love the world building, I love the characters, I love the lyrical writing. I'm such a fan. So that I probably never would have picked up if it wasn't for a booktuber recommending it to me. As far as a book that I was talked out of reading, I'm sure there have been books that I've been talked out of reading. There have definitely been things that like I've heard and been like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna be for, oh, okay. You know what? I think one example of this is, oh my gosh, what is it called, that book? Where it's like the girl with the axe. Sky in the Deep, yes. So Sky in the Deep. I was on the fence about it already, and then I heard Leanna review it and Holly Hart's Books review it, and I mean, both of them kind of liked it, but hearing them talk about it and talk about the tropes that are in it and the kind of storytelling it is, I was like, I don't think this is gonna be for me. So that was one that hearing their review, I was like, yeah, it's like I don't think it's probably a bad book. I just knew it wasn't gonna be up my alley, so that's one that I decided not to pick up. Question 2, has Booktube changed your mind about any genres? Yes, I definitely think it has. The first thing that comes to mind with this is adult romance. I kind of grew up always thinking of it as trashy and not something that you should be reading. And since coming to Booktube and just making some amazing girlfriends who, as part of their reading diet, read adult romance, I started to like dip my toes into it a little bit. I still haven't read a lot of it, but I am starting to get more into it, and I really like it, at least some of it. I don't like all of it, but I'm finding that there are things in it that I do like, and that when it's well written and well done, it can actually be deeply empowering of women, and it's yeah, anyway, that could be like a whole discussion video in and of itself, but suffice to say, I think being a part of the Booktube community has really changed my perspective on adult romance novels, and it's made me more open to them, and I'm getting into it and discovering that there are some authors that I really like. Not all of it is going to be for me, but there are certain things that I do really like in it. Question 3, how much time did you spend on YouTube before Booktube, and how much time do you spend on it now? I don't know. So before Booktube, I still watched a lot of YouTube. It just was different. I pretty quickly after I discovered that Booktube existed, started my own channel, because I think it was all I needed to give me the push to try out YouTube, because I'd been a fan of watching YouTube for a while. I used to watch a lot of family vloggers and beauty gurus and stuff like that. I don't watch as much of that now. On occasion, there are people that I will follow, but not nearly as much. Now, most of what I consume is Booktube content. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I spend about the same amount of time. I was spending a lot of time watching like daily vloggers before, and now I spend so much more time on my own channel and keeping up with comments and stuff. Like, I don't have as much time to watch YouTube, but I'll have certain days where I'll watch a lot. So I may have watched more before I had a YouTube channel, which is kind of ironic, but the content that I'm consuming is a little bit different. Question 4, how many books did you read per month or per year before Booktube, and how many do you read now? So I know I'm probably not the only one to say this, but before I was on Booktube, I did not regularly keep track of how many books I was reading, and I kind of went through phases. There would be seasons where I wouldn't read much at all, and then there would be times when I would read a lot. So I think I'm probably reading more volume more consistently now that I'm tracking it being on Booktube. Although probably when I was in school, like in high school, I was probably reading the same number, especially during the summertime when I had time, because that's like all I would do all summer is I would go to the library and get like a huge stack of books every week or two and read them all and then go back and get more. I mean, so probably I was reading as much, if not more, as a teenager. But I just didn't really track it or count. So I'm definitely more aware of the number of books that I'm reading, and it has been going up since I started my Booktube channel, and part of it might also be that I'm getting more efficient in my reading and I'm learning how to fit it in more places, and it's been nice actually. I mean, I love books and I love reading. Do you think that the way that I find books has changed? I didn't used to be so aware of new releases. I didn't know what was coming out. Most of what I read was from, okay, well this is getting into the next question. So let's move on to the next question and then I will continue this thought. So question 5 is, has Booktube affected your book buying habits? And if so, are you pleased or displeased by this? So this is what I was getting to, is I definitely buy a lot more books now than I did before. I probably just wanted an excuse to buy books. I may have wanted to, but I didn't buy nearly as many. It was more of a treat or an occasional thing. I used my library a lot, and I do still use my library actually, but even more so. But any excuse I could get before to buy a book, like, oh, it's a book club, I need to buy the book, I would use it whenever I could. And so I think having a Booktube channel and living close to a used bookstore where there's really inexpensive books has just sort of fed the urge to buy books. I mean, I've always dreamed of having like Belle's library, so you know, it's it's nothing new. I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. I read a lot, and then I don't keep everything that I read. I send things to friends. I resell books on eBay or at my local bookstore for store credit. I donate books to my library. So a lot of books pass through my hands, but I don't keep everything that I read. So I don't know. I mean, I probably could stand to tone it down a bit, but I mean, it could be worse, right? Like I could be buying far worse things than books. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's definitely different. And what I was gonna say was the way that I discover books now is very different, because I'm much more aware of what are all the new releases coming out and what are other people reading, and I have friends giving recommendations, whereas it used to be the main way that I would find books is I would go browse at bookstores and occasionally buy a book or two, or put it on a list and go to my library, and I would browse the shelves at my library, find a book that looked interesting. If I liked it, I would just basically read everything from that author until there was nothing else to read from that author, and then try to find a new author. So it was just like a very different experience. So and part of me misses reading lots of books from the same author the way that I used to be able to, but I also, you know, it's a little overwhelming sometimes, I think, being so aware of so many books, because I do read pretty widely, and so there are a lot of books that I'm interested in reading, and that can sometimes be a challenge. But yeah, I don't know, it's still good. Okay, question 6. Has a review by a booktuber ever retroactively made you reconsider your stance on a book? Probably. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything like... Not really. I mean, I think I've seen reviews from booktubers where they pick up on stuff that I didn't pick up on, and then I'll be like, oh, that's really cool. Like, that's even cooler than I realized or something. But I don't know. Probably the closest thing is, I think, hearing so many people deconstruct Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas has made me more aware of where it's flawed, but I still love it, so I don't really care. But I think the first time I read it, I just sort of binge read it and didn't notice that there were any sort of flaws in the writing. And so now I guess I'm more aware of that, but it hasn't really changed my perspective that much, so I don't know. Question 7. Are there any videos you've been inspired to make after seeing another booktuber's videos? Have you ever felt inspired by another's booktuber's style? Their video style, their book organization style, their personal style, anything? Absolutely. I mean, yes, definitely, on multiple occasions. I think I've seen people do really good discussion videos, and that's made me want to do more of them. I am always so impressed with Books and Lala. I love her, and she definitely inspires me to be more creative and try to come up with other ideas for video types that I could do. I think she is amazing, and I love her channel. So yeah, absolutely, I'm inspired by other people. Question 8. What are some pressures you feel on your reading life because of your channel? I mean, okay, I think, so this is sort of a weird thing. It's a little bit back and forth. So I think, well, it's really not because of my channel, except in a roundabout way. So because of my channel, I know about more books, and I have more books, and I have more arcs, and more things that I want to read. And so it sometimes feels a little overwhelming because there are so many books on my TBR. But it's not really directly from my channel because I read so much as it is. I definitely don't feel pressure to read more than I do. If anything, I occasionally am like, man, I hope people aren't like, man, she reads too much, stop reading. So like that's, if anything, the way I sometimes feel, because, or I worry that like sometimes people will think that I expect them to read at the rate that I do, because I definitely don't. Like if you're reading like a book a month, that's fantastic. Like, you know, like read what you want to when you want to, do what makes you happy. I just like happen to really like books and read fast. So yeah, but I don't know. So like I think there's like the roundabout pressure because I'm more aware of books because of my channel, and so that makes me feel like I'm missing out on more things than I used to feel that way about. So there is that. But I mean, it's a mixed bag. That's a good thing and a bad thing, and I don't really know how to get away from that, except for I think I've gotten better about figuring out what I think I will and won't enjoy. And so I don't agree to review books unless I think that it's something that I'm actually gonna like. And also, sometimes there's books that are really hyped in the community that I'm like, I just don't think that's gonna be one for me. So unless I have a friend who knows me and knows my taste, who's like, Bethany, I really think you should give this a try, then I might. But otherwise, even if everyone's talking about it, if I don't think I'm gonna like it, I don't pick it up. And if I'm hating a book, I will DNF it. So I think that's the thing, is I've had to learn to get more efficient in my reading and just make better choices about what I'm picking up, so that I'm not reading stuff that I'm not enjoying, because like, who wants to do that? Question 9. In what way, if any, do you feel that the social element of the community has impacted your reading? Do you think about books differently since joining? Yes, I definitely think that that is true. Yeah, I think I'm definitely much more aware of the diversity in the books that I read and the diversity of the authors that I'm reading. I never really thought about it before joining Booktube, and I think I'm happy about that, because I think it's made me much more aware of the fact that I want to actively make sure that a healthy part of my reading diet is books by authors of color and by people from other marginalized groups, and books that are stories about marginalized people, and make sure that my reading is representative. And not that all of my reading is, or that I read diverse books just because they're diverse. I try to read things that are also well done so that I can promote them genuinely. But I think I'm happy to be much more aware of that. I didn't realize how few authors of color I was reading, and how rarely I was reading more than one book by authors of color. And so that's something that I've actively been working on as a part of my reading, and I think that Booktube has really helped me become more aware of that, and I'm grateful for it, because I think it's a really important thing, and it's something that I actually care quite a lot about. I also think that buddy reads are amazing, and they have been wonderful. So much of my social life right now is really centered on YouTube, because I have 2 small children, and often I just don't have a lot of time to get out where I live with people. I occasionally do. I try to make time for that here and there, but it's just a different life having small kids and having responsibilities and having a husband and living where we live in the city. Yeah, it's just been hard to have much of a traditional sort of social life. I think as they get older that will probably change, but for now that's a lot of what's happening. I've ended up making some really close friends through Booktube. Some of the best girlfriends that I've had are people that I've met through this community, and that has just been amazing. And then reading books together and hearing each other's perspectives and analyzing it has been great. I've been a part of book clubs in the past, and that was what I really loved about it. But this is cool because I feel like all of us are really into books, whereas at book clubs you get like some people who are really into the books and some people that are like, I just kind of want a reason to hang out with other people, which is fine. That's not a bad thing either. But anyway, it's been fun. We can like nerd out about like the details that most people think are, you know, whatever, don't care about. So yeah, definitely the community has been amazing. I love the Booktube community. Also, I I don't remember what it was. I heard somebody doing a similar tag to this recently where I was asking about like, have you ever sent books? Maybe I'll do that tag at some point too, but I just thought I would include it here because I don't know if I'll get around to it, but it was asking about if you've ever like sent books to other booktubers or been sent books from booktubers, and whether booktubers have ever come to visit you. And so like the answer for me to all of those questions is yes, definitely. I have several friends that I've sent books or arcs or various things to when I'm done with them, and have amazing friends who've sent me books and Bookish merch, and I've actually gotten to meet in person quite a few people. Katrina from the Fabulous Book Fiend came to visit New York City and we met up. I've met her in person a couple of times and she's just great. Derby at Derby Lane Reading let me know that she was coming to visit New York, and so we met up and had coffee and browsed at a bookstore, and it was just really wonderful getting to meet her in person. I have a few other friends from Booktube that I would love to meet in person at some point, that we chat with each other a lot. I'm so sad I can't go to BookNet Fest this year. A lot of my friends are going to it. It would be really cool maybe next year. Unfortunately, this year is just not gonna work, but yeah. Anyway, I thought that would just throw that in there, so I don't know if I'll get to that other tag. And question number 10, what influence do you hope your own channel will have on the Booktube community and or aspiring booktubers? I mean, I guess in a basic sense, I hope it will inspire people to read more books, but also I hope it will inspire people to read more diversely. Again, like I said, that's something that I think is really important to me, and I hope it's going to open people up to checking out other books and maybe reading their books more critically, getting out of their comfort zone, and reading books that put them in a story that helps them to relate to people with different experiences from their own. I think that's really important. I think those are probably some of the bigger goals that I have for my channel, but generally it's fun. I love it. I can't imagine not doing it now. It's become such a part of my life, reading books and sharing books and reviewing books, and yeah, I love it. So it's been wonderful. Anyway, I will tag a bunch of people in the video description down below. Definitely do this tag. I think it's a great discussion video, and it's just such a good celebration of the community, which I have come to love so much in my past little over a year of being on here, and I'm grateful that it's a part of my life. Anyway, talk to me in the comments down below. Let me know any of your thoughts on this or your feelings about the Booktube community. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.